Doug, do you love daddy? Doug, do you love your shock collar? Hey everyone, Digital David here. Today in this video, we're going to be unboxing and reviewing the dog care shock collar model TC05. I've reviewed other dog care products on my channel as well, so be sure to check out those videos. I want to point out for this specific collar, I'm not working directly with anybody to produce or promote this product on my channel. Now, Dog Care did send me this item, but that's because the other dog care shock collar that I reviewed a few months back stopped working. They saw my message and update on that video, so they decided to send me this with no strings attached. So I'm not required to promote this, review this, or anything else along those lines. But I decided to do it anyway since this is a new product that I've yet to feature on my channel, and that other video did really well. So in a nutshell, I had an older version of a dog care shock collar and it worked great for about 2 months. Then it just randomly stopped working. I have no idea what was wrong, so I decided just to throw it out because there was nothing I could do to fix it. So Dog Care saw my update on that video about the collar not working, and they sent me this product unsolicited. They just saw that comment and wanted to reach out and make things right. So I'm really happy that they stand by their products and that they sent me this new product. This was not the shock collar that I reviewed in a previous video. This is a different model, and I'm excited for this one because it seems to be an updated version of that last collar. So if you're interested in this item or want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in my video description below. Please go ahead, check it out, and do your shopping from there. Here's how it comes packaged to in a really nice and simple retail box with their logo and branding on it, and we can see a nice little product graphic right there. This collar features 3 training modes, 1,000-foot range, 0 to 99 shock levels. It's rechargeable. The remote has a battery life of up to 45 days on standby, and the collar has a battery life of up to 15 days on standby. The collar is also IP65 waterproof, so your pets can take this swimming. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and look at the package contents. So here are all the package contents. First up, we have a quick start guide that you can see right there. We have your complete setup and installation guide right here with charts and diagrams walking you through everything you need to know about using this with your pet. We have some silicone caps right here to cover the contacts for the shock on the collar. We have a USB to micro USB charging cable. Here's a nice wrist strap. Here's the remote control, and they definitely shrunk down the size from the previous collar that I had from them, so this is nice. The other one was just a little bit big, if you ask me. It was fine, but this is nice. It's just a much better size. So we can see we got a nice screen right there. We have your 3 training modes. So we have your shock, your vibrate, and we have your beep. We also have the level adjustment right there. We can look on this side. We have channel 1, 2, and 3. So again, you can use one remote control to control up to 3 collars. We have your pairing button on the back. On this side too, you can see the micro USB charging port and where we can put the wrist strap. And we can turn it over to this side as well too. You can see your lock and unlock button for the remote control. So you never have to worry about accidentally shocking your dog while this is in your pocket. You can just keep the remote control locked. And last but not least, here's the shock collar itself. This looks great too, guys. Definitely a shrunken down version from the previous collar that I had. I really like the size on this. And they have a clear on and off button for you on the collar. We can see right here too, we got our speaker and we have an indicator light for us that will light up. Here's our charging port right here as well. So this also has micro USB for charging, so you can use one cable to charge both devices. If your pet's gonna go swimming, make sure that that grommet is in place and it's sealed up. You don't want water to get into the collar through the charging port. And then we can see the contacts on the back right there for the actual shock. And again, we have silicone caps we can put on there for additional comfort for our pet, and it can help decrease the shock intensity. So we have a nice collar that we can just buckle like that, and then we can make our adjustments right there. So we have a twisty tie we got to remove as well, but that's definitely going to be for most size dogs. This collar should work for you. Now let's go ahead, let's fire it up and try it out. Now that we're ready to use everything, I went ahead, I installed the wrist strap as well. Feed it through there, loop it back on itself, and pull it tight, and your wrist strap's installed. I wanted to point out a couple more tech specs for you guys on this product as well per the instruction guide. I find that a little bit more accurate sometimes than the Amazon description. So this is showing us that it's IP65, waterproof, rain resistant, and it's swimming approved. It's showing us that the remote has a built-in 450 milliamp hour battery. The receiver has a 250 built-in milliamp hour battery. It takes anywhere from 2 to 3 hours to charge each device. This is showing that they have a standby time of 90 days each, as opposed to the 45 and the 15 that I mentioned earlier. I think the 45 and the 15 is a much more accurate number. I'd say anywhere between 10 and 20 days is probably what you can expect for the receiver before you have to charge it. That's going to vary depending on how many times you actually have to use it to vibrate or shock your dog or issue any of the other training mode commands as well. The more you use it, the less the battery life will be. So obviously if you don't use it that often and it's just in standby mode the whole time, you'll see a much longer battery life than if you're constantly vibrating and shocking your dog every hour. It also says the range is 656 feet as opposed to 1,000 feet. I think we've used it around 300 feet or so. Our dog's never really ventured any further than that. So that's probably pretty accurate depending on obstacles and density and other stuff in your area. If your dog's in a wide open field, it's probably gonna be closer to 650, maybe even more. If you're in a densely wooded forest or a lot of like Wi-Fi signals and radio interference, it's probably gonna be a lot less. Now let's go ahead, let's power on everything. So to turn on the remote control, you can see the on and off button right there. Just twist it on. Now we can look at the nice LCD screen. We can see all the different icons right there. First up, we have our transmission signal icon, so we're good to go. In the right-hand corner, we have our lock and our unlock icon right there to let you know if that button's been activated. Then we have a 1 right here, so we can change the channel 1, 2, or 3. So that's going to be for up to 3 callers. Right now we're synced and linked to the caller 1 right here on the remote control. And then in the right hand corner at the bottom, you can see the battery level indicator for the remote control. And the double zeros is the intensity for the shock right now, and that can go all the way up to 99. To change that level, you can see we just got to hold down the level button, and then we can adjust the on and off knob at the top to select whatever level we want to start the shocks at. I'd recommend something pretty low to start with and shock yourself and see. So it doesn't feel very good. So I've never shocked myself past like 15 or 20. So I'd recommend starting lower. Obviously you'll know your pet and their pain tolerance and how thick their fur is to be able to find the best setting for your pet. But start lower, then work your way up in intensity if you have to. Now we can go ahead, we can turn on the collar as well. Just hold down the on and off button. It beeped, there was a red light. Now we know that it's powered on and ready to be used. I want to point out too, you can't adjust the volume of the beep or the vibrate intensity, but you can adjust the level for the shock. Now you can hold down the buttons and it will continually do the vibrate or the beep or the shock, or you could just push it once for a one-time thing. So let's go ahead. Let's try the vibrate right now. There's the vibrate. That's pretty good. Let's listen to the beep. There's the beep. And then we can push the shock button right now. So I can actually hear it. I actually have this tester right here, so I don't have to shock myself anymore. You guys can just see it in real time. It will light up this bulb once I push the shock. So there we go. Can you see the light? I'm going to do it again. There it is. It lights up. So it is delivering the shock and it's working properly. You don't need to try it on yourself if you don't want to, or try it on your pet without them misbehaving. So that's really nice. And now, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hold down the beep button. So I'm still holding it. It's still beeping. Same for vibrate. Now let's hold down the shock button as well. See if I'm not blocking that though for you guys. So there we go. So if you hold down the shock button, it's not going to shock at all. You can only push it and it will deliver the shock. So you don't have to worry about having that depressed in your pocket and continually causing your pet unwanted harm and pain, especially when they're not misbehaving. So that's really nice, guys. Again, you can hold down the vibrate and the beep button, and it will continually vibrate or beep. But if you hold down the shock button, it's not going to do anything. Just push the shock button once, it will deliver a shock. If you need to shock again, push it again. But while we're on that note, this is how I'd recommend training your pet with this collar. First, you're going to issue your command. So Baxter, no. If Baxter doesn't listen to that no, continues on its behavior, issue the command again. And then instead of saying no, start with the beep. So it'll do its behavior. You say Baxter, no, it misbehaves. Baxter's still doing it. You say Baxter, stop. Baxter, no. Then you can go ahead, push the beep that time. Your dog might get the cue and stop. Chances are it'll continue to misbehave. So issue your command again, and then issue the vibrate with the remote control. Your dog may snap out of it then. A lot of times they don't like the vibrate a lot. It just startles them, which is good. You want to take their fixation off whatever they're doing that they're not supposed to be doing. And if for some reason your dog continues in that behavior, then go ahead, issue the command again, and then issue a shock on a low setting, and that should correct your dog's behavior. And guess what? 10 minutes later, 2 days later, whenever your dog starts to do that bad behavior again, they're already smart enough to remember what's going to happen. So as soon as it hears the beep next time, it may stop for you. Or as soon as it gets to the vibrate, it will stop for you. And if it doesn't, it'll get shocked again, and dogs don't like to be shocked. So again, it will start associating the beep and the vibrate and even the collar with punishment. So what's really nice, guys, maybe after 1 or 2 shocks at the most, it took our dog 1 shock to realize what was going on. So it responded really well to just the beep. And occasionally it had to go into the vibrate, but our dog stopped doing what it wasn't supposed to be doing as soon as the vibrate came, because it did not want to get shocked, even at a low level like 5. So keep that in mind, be patient, but it should work pretty quickly for you. Now let's go ahead, let's get my dog Doug, and let's try it out. So I'm with my dog Doug right now, and he's wearing the dog care shock collar. As soon as I put the collar on him, he got extra clingy, and he's on edge because he's been trained with these collars his whole life since he was a puppy, and he knows what happens when he's wearing these collars. So he's being extra vigilant and extra clingy because he wants to make sure he won't get shocked. And I want to point out, when you're fitting your dog with the collar, make sure you can still fit 2 fingers between the collar and your dog's fur. Also, under your pet's neck where the receiver is, shake it around and make sure it's actually making contact with the skin as opposed to just the fur. You want the contacts to be touching your pet's skin, because if it's just touching the fur, they might not feel the shocks at all. So Doug's wearing it. It's really nice, guys. It's a lot smaller than the other dog care shock collar, so I really like the form factor on it. So here's a close-up of Doug wearing the collar. You can see he's got really thick fur right here, so I just went ahead and wiggled it down to make sure it's making contact with his skin. But it fits great. You can hardly tell it's even on him right there at all, and so he's pretty comfortable wearing it. He just doesn't like me touching his face right there, and you can still see the indicator lights as well. So everything's working like it should, and it fits really nice. And it's very compact, like I mentioned earlier. Now we got a glass of water here to submerge the collar in. Just so you know the collar's on while it's submerged, I'm gonna go ahead and vibrate the collar now. There we go, so you know it's powered on. Let's go ahead, let's just drop it right in. When you're doing this, make sure if your pet's gonna go swim that you have the charging port grommet plugged into place. So you can see it's submerged in the water right now completely. And it's surprisingly floating. It looks like it's floating. So that's cool. It's definitely not waterlogged or anything yet, even in the speaker port. I'd recommend, if your pet is swimming, that you keep it in the lock mode. You're not gonna want to activate the beep, the vibrate, or shock your pet while your pet's wet and in the water. So I just saw the LED light. It's still blinking for us, so I know it's working underwater. Let's let it soak a little while longer, then let's dry it off and see if everything still works. So we just took it out of the water and dried everything off. Let's go ahead, let's test out all the features. Vibrate still works. The beep still works. We can even test out the shock again too for you guys. So let's go ahead, let's hold it up. You can see it just lit up the light bulb right there too. So everything works after submerging it in water. I want to point out too really quick that the LED light was flashing red for me as soon as I powered this on when I took it out of the box. So this was not fully charged. The remote was fully charged when I opened it up and took it out of the box. So this will flash red when it's time to recharge the collar. Once you plug it into the charger, it's going to change to a solid red light, letting you know that it's charging, and then it'll change to a solid green light once it's fully charged. Then after it's fully charged and you start using it, it will be flashing green for you and eventually making its way to red again when it's time to recharge it again. So I'm really impressed with this product overall. It's got a lot of great features and updates from the other dog care shock collar that I reviewed. Overall, a couple of things I'd like to see improved upon in the future, even from this design, have to do with the remote control. I'd love the ability to be able to adjust the beat volume and the intensity of the shock. And I really wish the remote control showed you the battery life indicator for the receiver as well. A couple other collars I've reviewed have those features or a mix of those features. So I'd like to see one product that has all of those features. And I'd really like to see, instead of the micro USB cable, it's time for everybody to switch over to USB Type-C. And I've seen a lot of other products that come with a dual charging USB cable. So it has one USB end and then two DC ports or plugs, or two micro USB ends, or anything along those lines. So you can charge both of these at the same time. I'd really like to see that feature as well. And maybe a different strap, maybe for your neck or with a buckle that you could use. But overall, they've made great improvements like this on and off button, and they shrunk the size of everything, so that's really nice. If you're interested in this product or finding out more about it, the link to it is in my video description below. Please go ahead, check it out, and do your shopping from there. Hit that like button for us. Subscribe to our channel. We have new content coming out daily. Don't want you guys to miss anything. Give us a follow online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can message us on WeChat. Check out our website. Join our free newsletter, guys. Follow us on Twitch and join our Discord server as well. Thanks for watching, and we can't wait to see you in our next video.